went on ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, Claude, the official Meshtastic Discord, my local one, YouTube, Reddit, and what I did is I made a list of what everyone says the best radio is and why. Meshtastic doesn't have a standardized way of judging, recording, and ranking radios, and that's what we're here to solve. So what we have here is this tool, Meshtastic Interactive Tier List. And what this does is it takes data, which is hard to read, and it takes what you care about and it gives you ranking. So let's go through it and then we'll explain as we go. First of all, do we want to show DIY builds? So, if you want to make your own stuff, then I would put that. Ham usage, we'll explain that later. Made in the USA, that's kind of obvious. If you only want to buy made in the USA stuff, then you put that, but we'll just keep it as this. What do we care about? Price, a lot of people care about price. Power, transmit power. People want range, let's put it at 10. Ruggedness, this is the thing. If we want everything, we're going to pay more. So let's just do the average person. Average person usually has a 3D printed enclosure and they don't really care. Capacity, battery capacity. Do we want a big battery or do we want a small battery? Well, do we want a big battery? Do we care about that? Or are we okay with a small battery? Let's say we don't really care about it because we're fine charging every other day. GPS, do we want to be able to track ourselves without syncing to the phone? Let's say so. Next, we have ruggedness mix. This is not an additional score. This helps the engine understand what you care about in ruggedness. So first of all, water, this is ingress protection. So if you put the radio in a bucket of water, how long is it going to last? Can it be in the rain? Can it be in the snow? Things like that. If you go kayaking, I would recommend, and bring your Meshtastic device, I would put that higher than impact rating. If you live in Texas in the desert and you don't go near the water, and you care about being able to run it over with your car, you care more about impact than water. So I would put it as such. And then battery. Not all batteries are the same. LiPo batteries are great because they have a lot of power in a small form factor, but they blow up if you drop them. And trust me, I have done that a lot. I've done it on purpose and I've done it on accident. On the top end of batteries, we have, well, let's say middle, we have lithium ion in comparison to LiPo. Lithium ion is much more rugged than LiPo for a lot of reasons, and I want to keep it short so we won't go into all of it, but it's in a metal can, which helps a lot. And then also because of the way the coil is wound and the difference in chemistry, we get a wider temperature range of where we can use it. If we discharge it too fast, it's less likely to blow up, things like that. So for most people, let's be honest, they don't really care about that, and they care more about the impact, maybe more about the water. And that's fine for now. So let's look at this. What's scoring high? Okay, we got the B&Q Consulting Station G2. So this is scoring really high because it's like a 4-watt output power. And I'm glad that this happened because let's talk about it. If you don't care about rules and regulations, and if you don't care about killing your battery because you're using 4 watts instead of 158 milliwatts, that's a great radio to have if you can buy it. I know it's kind of hard to get. They're always out of stock and they're directly from China, so you're going to have to deal with tariffs as well. That's why the price is that, because that's calculating tariffs as well. Let's look at what happens when we turn ham usage off. Well, where'd it go? It's way down there. What ham usage does is if it is off, any radio that has over 4 watts over 1 watt doesn't get that extra credit anymore for being over the range. If you want the most powerful radio because you're just going to use it in the disaster situations, that's up for you to decide if you have a ham license or not. I'm not going to tell you. I wouldn't do it because I like using my gear a lot and I like being able to use it legally so that we can be actually prepared if something happens, not just have something in a backpack that I've never used before. So let's keep that off for now. Made in the USA, self-explanatory. If it's made in the USA and you put that on, those are the only ones that come up. So let's go through this. Price. If we don't care about price and we care about power, ruggedness, and capacity, let's see what happens. Yeah, it's kind of obvious. We get the AT Lab stuff. Really nice radios. They have big batteries, custom boards. The RM2, I believe, is 2 watt. What else? They have GPS, which is part of the reason that that's scoring so high. What if we just want something to put in our backpack that will last forever? And we don't care if the GPS is good. We kind of care about price, maybe. Capacity is kind of in the middle. Oh, look at that. Okay, so lower we have, the ruggedness mix. Down here on the left, we have the scoring flow. This is just kind of a simple explanation of how the scoring is computed. If we go down lower, this is really cool. not many people will actually care about this, but here you can download the CSV of the actual live data. You can view it too. And then here, if you have a question or you want data changed or believe the data should be changed or added, is my business email. And then another cool thing is that after we get all the bugs out, after we get the initial user feedback, we are going to actually be making a GitHub repo to where we have the live data and then all the history of it, and people can individually do pull requests and suggest data so that it can be automatically added into the database. We're going to do the same thing with the equations. So things like, for instance, price. If we look here, the price factor, the way that this is computed right now is price factor is basically just a if it's over the average, it's getting slightly penalized. If you really want the cheapest thing with the best performance, whatever that means for you, we're going to be looking at different ways to compute things like that. But, right now, this works pretty well, I think, because, if you want, let's just give another example. What's another type of user? Someone who thinks Meshtastic is awesome. They throw it on their bag and a keychain, and they don't really care about ruggedness. They care a lot about price. They don't really care about power. Let's do it. Let's see what comes up. GPS, I don't know. Let's put GPS up, capacity down, rugged down, power down, price up. What do we get? Okay, yeah, so nice. We get the mesh tag. We get the sense cap. We get a T-beam. So this makes sense. All right, so what if we want the best thing we can get? Money's no option. Put all these things up. On the other side of the spectrum, we have the AT Labs RM2, which is a 2-watt radio, and $750 without antennas. Has some other functions too, but if you're the type of person that money's no option, then yeah. If we care about price a little bit, maybe we say we don't care about GPS. What do we get? We get the Heltec QI Mesh Pocket. We get the Delta Plus Proto NPH1. And as you mess with these things, the point is not to tell you what to do. It's to kind of, ask a bunch of questions really quickly. And then if you really have more questions, you can look at the database. You can go to the actual database here, which is if you download that file, that's what it'll be. And the point is a couple of things. First of all, we want to be able to record, values of stuff. We have, LilyGo stuff, Heltec, MusiWorks, Rack Wireless, Atlivox, a lot of good radios in here. I would say a lot of not great radios in here. But the point is, how do I say that without, having numbers? If I can't buy all of these things, but everybody lists their specs. A lot of this stuff, if you look, there are likely, if I can find some, question marks. And this is where I need you guys. Why is there a question mark? The Nucleus V1, does it have Wi-Fi? I think it does. I looked into it for a little bit, but the point is, I want to have like 200 radios here. I want to have all the dev kits. I want to have the community feedback and corrections and suggestions. And honestly, I've done a lot of the hard work already. So what I'm asking you guys is come in here, use this tool. Tell me what you think. Maybe if someone asks you, hey, what radio should I get? Maybe this is a resource that you can send to them. But other than that, the point is to have consistent things that we can judge radios on, other than just branding, marketing, and very biased feedback from communities that aren't always, very unbiased. Now, let's be honest, we're all biased. But the point of this is to take a little bit of that user bias out and maybe help ourselves look at things and make assumptions based a little bit more on numbers rather than what culture tells us, I guess. So thank you for watching. This is the tool. If you want to find it, it's going to be linked in the description. It's deltaplusproto.com/Meshtastic tier list. And then if you go to the deltaplusproto.com website, it's right here on tier list. And then if you're interested in any of our products, we have some informative things here. You can go to the store. We have some accessories and stuff like that. We have our radio, but that's not what this is about. The point is, for the community, let's build something which I need your help from, and let's help people make better decisions. And because of the exponential growth of the community, because of how many more people are getting radios, let's help those new people be able to quickly make decisions, compare things, and understand why people like the radios that they do. There are lots of great radios. There are a lot of valid opinions of people who really like their radios. Let's help back that up. Let's help understand it. And let's make the standard of future radios in development be what we want it to be as a community. Thanks for watching. This is Ben. Really love Meshtastic. I know you do too. See you next time.